Good evening, everybody. Live on the internet. Welcome to Danny's Sunday Chilled Out Danny Buckler Show here on the Instagram. No one's watching yet, but I'm talking as if they are because I'm going to leave this up. I don't know why I have to explain that every time. I explain that every time because of my insecurity, basically, that no one's ever going to watch one of these. Oh, no product placement in this house. Right. That was a cracking start. Welcome. This is a nice one. I haven't planned this. Normally I plan these. I advertise them in the afternoon and people come. But this is impromptu because my friend he's dropped in for a cup of tea on his way. He's driving home for Christmas. And he's dropped in for a cup of tea on his way. It's not Chris Rea, don't worry about it. I'm not going to bum you out with him. No, I have got my dear friend, the Barefoot Doctor, in the house once again. The psychedelic shaman, the Lord of the Trance. He's incredible. If you don't know him, author of books, some 24 books on Taoism, psychology. We're going to learn some stuff this afternoon, hopefully. The last one we did together was quite nice. What else can I tell you? The Amped Head project, that's up and running. It's a music thing that he does. He'll tell you about that better than me. And just an incredible human being. So it's going to be a deep dive. Think Sunday, meditation, chilling out, creativity, all that. If that's your bag, stick around. Maybe some card tricks if I'm in the mood. Please welcome to the Danny Buckler live experience, the Barefoot Doctor, Mr. Stephen Russell, everybody. Hey! Coming to you in awkward vision, because that's how you have to do it on here. You have to sort of squeeze into the shot, otherwise it's a nonsense. Anyway, good evening. How are you, Doctor?
All the better for being with you, my friend.
Welcome to the Danny Buckler Live.
Yeah, man. I'm in England for one day and I was driving around the M25, as you do, coming from one place to another. I just thought to myself, you've got to go and see Danny.
Why not? Go and see Danny and everyone that he knows on the internet.
And I felt it. It was a feeling. I wanted to be with you today.
You were drawn in.
Yeah.
So we've got some nice people showing up, actually, some fans of the old Buckle show.
Yeah.
So this is going to be quite
Welcome to the fans.
This will be quite a trippy one, so strap in.
What are we going to do? What do we talk about?
We are going to talk about what's going on with you, the Barefoot Doctor.
Me, the Barefoot Doctor.
What are you up to right now? What's the latest project?
Well, I'm on Amped Head. I mean, that's like it, full on. It's, I did the 3 volumes. There's 18 hours of deep brain entrainment. It's gone really, really, really well. But it's like expensive to buy that $1,200 or whatever, and 18 hours of time to put into something to change your life. It's not a lot, but if you're young and busy, and it's a lot of money and a lot of time. So the next thing was microdoses, funnily enough, and they're 3-minute cuts. Each one addresses a different issue. So, for example, I can't even think of one, but reality responds to me. So the way I say it is the way it will be. And what I'm saying is, like, if I want to overcome anxiety, the anxiety habit, I can do that. I can do this. I can overcome it. It's a habit, and I can lose this habit. I can do that. I can do it much better than that. He does it better, Amped. But and it's in 3 minutes. I'm managing to encapsulate the same trance effects as I could get off a whole hour, basically.
Of trance music.
It's not trance. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying trance. It's not. It's actually tech house with a lot of broad musical reference.
Right, excellent. All bases are covered on the Amped Head. We're going to talk about all sorts of weird stuff. If you've got any questions, either save them up or I'll look at the end and we'll have a look and answer those at the end about anything we're talking about now. Or if you're a magician watching this and it's a magic question for me, you can ask me that.
Or a question about anything.
Or anything in life.
Anything.
But generally think, hey guys, lovely to see you both. Thank you, Samantha Whitaker. How nice to see you too.
Lovely to see you too, Sam.
So,
that's Sam, a woman, by the way.
These are, it's Samantha. So, these be stressful times. If you're watching, I get American people watching. Basically, I'm sure you're well aware that we're going through a bit of a thing in England at the moment. We're basically choosing who's going to rule us for the next 5 years. And it's a stressful time for people, but it's also been a fascinating campaign this year because of the amount of disinformation that has been employed.
The mendacity of it, you mean?
The mendacity of it.
Yeah, the fabulous mendacity.
Do you have any Taoist mind tricks to protect us from such an onslaught of hypnosis, for want of a better word? Is that too heavy a thing to dive straight in with?
Well, no, but I think that if you're aware of it, as you are, you don't need protecting from it because you're really being aware is the protection, isn't it? If you're clear that somebody is being disingenuous with you and you hold your centre, have compassion for them and realise that this is just the theatre of life, and they're, for whatever reason, are required to play that role of the disingenuous person in that moment. You're able to see the Tao informing them, the spirit informing them,
right,
behind the disguise of the liar, if you like, and you love that. And as you love that, it transforms their lives into nothing really.
But for you, the individual.
For you, the individual, and it does something for them as well.
Right.
It does something for them. Hey, look, everybody, it doesn't matter what role they're playing in the theatre of life, needs to be validated and loved.
Yes.
And feel like they belong. At a deep level in the universe, not just in England or in America or wherever, to belong in the universe. They feel like they've got to belong here. If you can make someone feel validated, no matter who they are, whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, just as a human being, that heals them. That starts a healing process, and it will reduce the amount of danger that they're liable to perpetrate.
Right.
In my experience. I don't fucking know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Do we need protecting? Because the Taoist thing is everything's yin and yang, right? So if something happens now that you don't like, so whichever politician wins the election and you don't like them, which is probably all of them, right?
Yeah, whatever happens, it seems to me that whatever happens, half the country's going to be furious.
Half?
More than half. Well, most of them, in fact, 90% of the country. This is a weird one. Normally it's 50-50. Now it feels like whatever happens, 90% of the country is going to be furious.
I know about furious.
Because look at the Brexit. They were livid about that.
Yeah, so, that's a different time. This is not so much about fury now, I don't think.
You don't think it is?
No, I think it's ennui.
Do you think the fury is burnt out and led to ennui?
I'd like to,
because it does feel like we've been battered.
Whatever does happen, it might look bad, but then bad turns to good. Good comes from bad. So, for example, if in the quite possible event that forget about the global economy, which is diving anyway, but the British economy completely collapses, which could well happen easily enough. You think, oh, that's awful, it's the end of the world. Well, yeah, it's going to be really difficult, but out of that comes cheap places to rent, to put on gigs and venues. Like we're in Berlin, before Berlin got too fancy pants in the last 10 years or whatever, you could still rent a venue really cheap and put on a really good thing now, which gave rise to a lot of amazing creativity, which England doesn't have anymore, in my opinion. It's really been, a lot of the creativity has been sort of like pushed out because there's not enough, people can't afford to put things on. Unless they're really marketed big kind of like corporate dues, you know.
As I have discovered to my own cost.
Yeah. So, out of bad comes good. Now, what I would say, if you go, this is one of the amped head kind of affirmations that runs through everything. Everything turns to my advantage no matter what. Everything turns to my advantage no matter what. Doesn't matter what happens, everything turns to my advantage. And you keep saying that, it starts coming true. You start seeing the advantage in everything. So, like, say you get a toothache. Oh, toothache, this is horrible. You sort of go, I'm willing to love this toothache. I'm willing to get the benefit of what this is trying to give me, which is reminding me of my mortality. It's helping me put things in perspective. And by the time I've done that, the toothache's usually gone away anyway. And if not, there's always ibuprofen. Or have you? Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Ibuprofen?
But ibuprofen is interesting if one is interested in ibuprofen. But
I knew the guy that invented that, you know.
You knew the guy that invented ibuprofen?
Yeah, he said he used to take 20 and go out.
For real?
Yeah, he said it didn't hurt your liver at all. I think he was nuts, but really, he did. Yeah.
Doesn't hurt your liver?
It must do, though.
It's got to do something to your liver, the ibuprofen.
Yeah. It shows you the guys that work in that industry, they're kind of a bit crazy themselves.
They bloody well are. So what happens is most of the people that, I don't know everyone that tunes in, so bless you all who are watching this, but most of them are performers, arty types, creative people.
So I have to watch not to talk too much shit then, or what?
Well, no. But like what you were saying just now interests me. This idea of, like out of the bleakness does come good. Like I can remember. Hey, Trevor. My friend Trevor.
What can you remember, actually?
But bear in mind.
Do you really remember it, or you forget?
No, this is what I remember Margaret Thatcher.
Do you? Well, that's not difficult, really, is it?
And I remember everyone. It was a similar thing to now. Everyone was going, "Oh my fucking," and that sense of she can't get in. She got in. 5 years later, she can't stay. She stayed. She's going to privatise the NHS. She never did. But
Yeah, but she did do a lot of stuff that is the root of why the trouble we're having now in the world, actually.
No, but that's not the point I'm getting to. The point I'm getting to is out of that grew.
Yes.
the alternative comedy scene.
Yeah.
We got the young ones. We got the counter thing. We got there were more gigs happening than ever before. You know, the comedy circuit seemed to be born out of that. Variety changed.
And the underground music scene revived as well. You know, electronic stuff.
Yeah,
house music and all that came through the 80s as
well.
All
of that. There was a wave of like Spitting Image on the television. Different voices was kind of prompted into action by what happened, and I'm hoping that might happen again.
Well, I tell you, the one thing I have noticed. Everyone I'm talking to in England is worrying about the election, obviously. I mean, I haven't had a single conversation with anybody that hasn't ended up in going, fuck, what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
What I am noticing, though, is there's a really lovely atmosphere. People are really quite light and a lot of humour and quite positive and optimistic, even though they're all really worried about what's going to happen. So there's a really interesting yin-yang in that, as if we thrive on a bit of adversity or the prospects of adversity. It's like, this is exciting, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we've got to take that attitude, not be wimps about it. We have to be strong warriors and go like, whatever happens, I'm going to deal with it. Even if it's real shit, I'm going to deal with it. And I will help everyone around me deal with it. That's the important part. That's what makes us strong, I feel, for me. If I'm informed with the intention, I help you, my brother, whatever, that I'm going to help you.
Right.
And I'm going to help whoever's around me, because it's my family, the humanity's my family. Then I've got the strength. I've got the strength to deal with it, whatever. I've got a reason to deal with it. If it's just about me, there's, a bit selfish, really.
Yeah. The helping out of each other.
The helping out of each other.
Trevor Locke says yes, and he's not wrong. It's absolutely that. One of the wisest men I know, Trevor.
Hello, Trevor. Thank you.
Beautiful man. I've got sidetracked there. I have noticed that as well. Like I did, this isn't like I do a lot of work for charity. I don't like to mention it, but I did. But my sister who's a incredible warrior of she runs our local homeless drug rehabilitation. It's a charity called the Ork Road Project. It's very amazing, actually. Well worth following on here and supporting. And I don't know the ins and outs, but the basic premise of it is anyone can turn up in any state of distress.
Yeah.
And if they've got a bed for them, they can have it. If they haven't got a bed for them, they can have something. If it's just a mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
And then they help them get set up. They help them get
wow.
back on their feet. She has made an awful lot of drug problem people and an awful lot of mental health problem people. And
yeah.
Why are you saying that? I mentioned it because last Saturday night was there. We had a quiz night to raise money for it, and it was just that thing. It was like I after a week of everyone on Facebook, there's still the community is still there. We still pack this place out with local people who were there just to help and say, look, here we're going to play a silly game, but they were still. It reminded me. It's very easy in this day. We're also sort of getting so kind of cut off in our social media bubbles. That community thing still exists
very strongly.
People will still leave their houses, is what I'm saying, to go out and help somebody else.
No, I say more and more. This is what I'm finding, that the media gives the impression that everybody's turned into selfish bastards, right? But it's not like that in real life. When I'm going around, no matter who I'm talking to, it feels great. People are really kind. Becoming more and more so all the time. Maybe that's a reflection of me. I don't really know. But I'm not encountering meanness. I'm not encountering nastiness. Very little. Mostly I'm encountering people being really beautiful, open-hearted, more and more. So I think that's what the effect of all this shit is having on us. It's actually getting us to kind of open our hearts and become more loving. I'd like to think that anyway.
I would love to think that.
Well, I do think that. Do you?
Now I do think that. I would love to think that, so I think I'm going to think that. Why not?
Are you thinking that now?
I'm thinking that now.
Does it make you feel good?
It does actually.
See,
yeah.
That's the trick.
A warm glow.
That's the trick.
We're spreading love through the screen.
Yeah.
Anyone has any questions, by the way, feel free to pipe in. Anything you want to ask my friend here? He's an expert in Tai Chi, meditation, hypnosis, anything.
I think it's pipe up.
Pipe up. Pip up. Join in is the point, if you want to. No pressure selling on my streams.
Forgive me being a pedant in this instance.
So you spread your message through this...
through this internet thing.
Through this internet thing, but you do it through a variety of media as well, don't you? There's music and there's...
Oh, I see. Music.
Yeah. And that's it, is it now?
Like this, doing this. I write a bit, words.
Where can we read your words?
Where can you read them? Well, my website is a good place to start with, barefootdoctorworld.com.
Barefootdoctorworld.com.
You know, I write lots of shit on there. It's good stuff. I mean, I do a newsletter every week that's very popular. You can sign up for that. But I've written a lot of books as well. There's 24 of them so far. On my Wayward Publications site, waywardpublications.com site, yeah, you know, and I do retreats and I do help people one a bit. Not too much because I don't have a lot of time for that now, but mostly at the moment, it's all hands on deck for getting the first release of on my new record label that Sam Whitaker is running called Nook Tracks, and the first release comes on the 23rd of January. So a lot of focus is all on that. We've got 6 months worth. We've got about a year's worth of releases planned.
Oh, wonderful.
You know, a lot of collaboration work as well with different people. It's really interesting. And the music, it's not just music. I mean, the message in it is very powerful. It is healing. I mean, it's going to turn you around.
No, it is. I've heard some of it, and it is. It's very. It got me through a flight, actually. I listened to one on a flight to America. It's beautiful. You just close your eyes, you go off, you come back, and it set me up. Jet lag was there none that day.
Yeah, so that's the main focus right now. If I could clone myself, which I really wish I could do, but I haven't figured it out yet, I'd be writing 8 books at the moment. I'd be doing all the music thing at the same time. I'd be doing my admin properly. I'd be checking my bank statements properly, paying my tax on time and all that shit. I'd be dealing with all the nitty-gritty of the house and making sure everything's done properly at the right time and everything all at once. And I would have one of me. I'd have one of me on a beach just doing nothing, being massaged on a beach.
Which is what I tend to be doing next week.
Yeah. Is that what you're doing next?
Yeah, I am. I'm going off to Miami.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm working.
To be massaged on the beach.
To do some shows, but also to get massaged on a beach. Yeah, I'm gonna have a bit of Buckles time while I'm away before Christmas.
Yes.
Because I'm knackered.
Well, I'm going to be near you because I'm going to Barbados tomorrow.
You're in Barbados. Yeah. I'm going to be in surrounding islands.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
Well, I will be in Barbados.
But not in Barbados.
Oh, I see.
But round and about that area. So, yeah, and then Key West is on my agenda. Anyway, I'm getting into a waffle now.
Yeah.
So
nice work if you can get it. That's the thing, isn't it?
Beautiful work if you can get it.
Yeah.
Now you come from the what are we?
I come from the cold face of life.
From the cold face of life, but your work is informed from the Taoist perspective.
So they say.
So they say. That's what the book. That's where it comes, which is an ancient, beautiful, philosophical. But well, you can give us a bit of that.
What?
So the Taoist perspective is one of what?
For
the benefit of those
question, man.
I know it's a bit big and broad, but
all right. The Taoism is from ancient China. Probably at minimum of 12,000 years old, if not 25,000 years old. The legend is it came from aliens who dropped in a couple of times.
Did it?
Yeah.
I've heard that one before.
From the Pleiades and Sirius. There were 2 visitations. They're not the only ancient cultures to have that as their myth. So you have to give it a bit of...
This is the myth. This isn't literal.
Well, it's their legend.
It's the legend, right, okay.
And these people who came were 7 feet tall, right high. Right. They wore strange clothes. They came from the high places, the Pleiades and Sirius.
Right.
So I think 2 different visits, different times. I'm not really sure. And they taught the people everything that the Taoist stuff, and then they disappeared. That's the myth of it. I mean, it could just be a load of bollocks. It doesn't really matter. But the fact is that acupuncture, for example, is a Taoist art.
Right.
And acupuncture is the most incredible medicine because I'm a doctor of acupuncture. It is so complex and brilliant if you know it. The contemporary theory is that it came from battles. Like, for example, somebody gets stabbed in the chest and they notice that their headache cleared up. I mean, for fuck's sake. And from that, they developed this ridiculously complex system of, 2,000 acupuncture points, which all do very complex little things and all the nuances of it. It's impossible. Really, what it was, it definitely came from where it was getting lost already about 5,000 years ago, which is when conventionally I think it started. Right. Because the Yellow Emperor had this book written to make sure that it didn't all get lost completely. Anyway, that's a Taoist art. Tai Chi, which most people think of as like slow motion nonsense, which is really a very powerful boxing form when you know. That's a Taoist art, for example. Qigong, which is gaining more and more popularity, is a Taoist art. Taoism is all, the yin and yang, the idea of yin and yang, that's Taoist philosophy. The Tao is like what in the West we might call God if we were not attaching it to any religious connotation. The idea of the presence that informs everything at the subatomic level. when you take birth, you take root in the womb as an embryo. You embody this consciousness, which is primordial. It's there already.
Right.
You don't invent consciousness. You don't think, right, I'm going to get consciousness. You just embody it automatically. That's the Tao. Whatever that is that you embody as a baby in the womb, that's the Tao.
Right.
The Tao is pure. It doesn't have anything to. It doesn't do anything. It just sits at the root of everything. In every subatomic particle, there is Tao. But that's at the root of it. But then there's an aspect of it which evidently needs to act out. It needs to express itself. And so the universe is here. That's what it's an expression of the Tao, is the universe. And the universe is comprised of an infinite number of apparently individuated parts. It's, fractions. Fractals. Sorry, yeah. And each of these parts is imbued with a kind of an amnesia. In other words, it doesn't remember that it is an expression of this one primordial force. And that enables the Tao to play hide and seek with itself, because it knows, like, it's you and it's me. But if you and me constantly knew we were the Tao wouldn't be playing hide and seek. It'd get bored, has to find a new game. This is my theory, which is mine. Either that or the Tao, it kind of created all this to make some money. I'm not really sure. If so, where does
the Tao is
the
CEO.
Yeah. And anyway, so then what happens is that the Tao manifests as all of this, and once it manifests, it's all subject to the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, the violent and the kind, the helpful and the unhelpful, the horrible and the beautiful, the ugly and the beautiful, whatever, the easy and the difficult. Whatever manifests. I really want a relationship with someone, fall in love, and be a beautiful person, everything will be fine. And you meet that person, it is beautiful, and you are in love, and they're in love. Then you've got the fear that they're going to die, or they get ill, or whatever. You've got the responsibility of them. There's always the other side, and it all ends in tears one way or the other anyway, whether they die or they leave you, or you leave them, or whatever. If you really want to get loads and loads of money, because you think that's going to make everything better, well, it will make it different, and in some ways better, but it'll also make it worse, because you're going to have people hitting you up for money the whole time. You've got to deal with the money, you've got to, you end up wasting lots of it, buying things you shouldn't, and all the other stuff, and you're worrying about losing it all the time. So, it doesn't matter what you do, there will always be the dark side to it, the side that, so that's the yin and the yang. A Taoist, somebody follows the Tao, the path, the way it means, doesn't get into it more and more with the training. There's less need to grab onto things that you want and less need to push away things you don't want. You tend to sort of welcome all of it as being an interesting phenomenon, because you know that if it's good now, it's going to turn to shit later, and if it's shit now, it'll turn to good later.
Got you.
So you get the cycle of it all, and it's a very different, more relaxing, more fun way to be. And it doesn't. I'm not saying you're either like that or you're not like that. It's by degree. So you just find that with more and more of the practice, you're more able to just love whatever happens. So nothing spoils your delight in being alive, not even dying. Everything, even how and I've been in, man, some of the worst things ever, you can still feel the delight in being alive. It doesn't matter. That's one explanation of Taoism anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a fairly beautiful one. Geez, there you go.
Well, thank you.
Throw that down.
I'm not talking too quickly.
You're not talking too quickly at all, but
Good.
I find it a very beautiful philosophy and way of being.
Are you going to do a card trick?
No, I'm not going to do a card trick unless anyone has a card trick question on there. But no,
I have.
Because they don't know. You can't
My
fool
card
them.
trick question is, can you do a card trick?
Can I do a card? I'll try. Right,
I love his tricks, man.
I will do one then for the benefit of the viewers. We do have some magicians do watch this, and a deck of playing cards that I just happen to have with me. Oh right, let's think of one that I can do that because you can't misdirect a camera, or can you? We're going to find that out. Take any card that you like, sir.
Yeah.
And show the camera as I avert my gaze.
Okay.
I love how I just turn it immediately. As soon as you start doing a card trick, your charisma gets shut off. You see you're chatting and then choose a card. Right, everyone's seen what the card is. I'm going to get you to replace it in the deck for me. Okay. That'd be beautiful. And I'm going to just I've got pins and needles from sitting down. So somewhere in there is a deck of a card that I know not what it is, but I do know that it's not this one here, the Eight of Hearts. I'm assuming it's not the Eight of Hearts. No?
No, it's not.
So what was the card that you chose?
Four of Diamonds.
If I take that Eight of Hearts,
yeah,
and I just move its disparate parts and give it a squeeze, it should now turn into a Four of Diamonds. There you go.
Very good.
There's a quickie.
Very good.
There's a quickie. Hey, right, so I've got some people here that have... Hey, Holly's in the house. Hello, Holly. And Jake from Junk. Now, can I ask you about... Because I want it to be like a Sunday chill-out thing. Because people have had it's a stressful time. It's a very stressful time because Christmas and an election.
Yeah.
Thanks, Boris, for lining both those up. And God knows what else is going on in the world, and people are under. Is it what? And I meditate a lot. I'm not. I do it pretty much every day. But this idea of meditating in action, meditating in life. So rather than it being this thing where you're sitting on a cushion, actually in the throe of your life, having moments. Where you can calm yourself, where you can pull your attention away from this bombardment of negativity and disinformation. Do you have any Taoist tricks for that, like turning it on in the flow of your day-to-day life? And can you give us one of them now?
I've about 10,008 of them, in fact.
10,008?
At least,
Beautiful. Is there one you can share with us now?
Okay, would you like to give a slight rationale for it first, so people understand what it is? Because the Taoist trick is that all the martial arts in Taoism, like Tai Chi, Xing Yi, whatever, are opportunities to feel yourself in the meditation state while in action.
Right.
And in action having a fight, which is symbolic of the most stressful thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So if you can be in a meditative state during a fight, you can be in one during anything,
yes.
In other words. And what it all depends on is developing a certain kind of physical mindfulness, which distinguishes it from other systems. In that the whole basis of it is how you sit in your body, and this is the trick of all tricks. This is me now answering this question. What you can do to, but you do need to practice it still to start with.
Right.
So you would start every day either sitting or standing in a qigong pose to meditate. To get the feeling first. Once you've got it, then you can take it into movement. What it all depends on is the following. You have your sense organs face forwards, so you perceive life occurring in front of you. Life is very fascinating and it's very riveting, very challenging and exacting. And anything like that is going to draw you towards it because it's fascinating. So you get drawn towards it. And that draws you into the front of your body and the front of your brain. In other words, your whole person, your presence is located now in the front of you. And the front of you is a very noisy, vulnerable, insecure place because there's a lot of exposure. There's not, the bones don't cover your stomach or your eyes or your throat and groin. And there's a lot of activity. There's all the organs working, the bowels working and so on. But also the front of the brain, which is the most recent part of the brain to develop in humans, is used for societal bonding, so language, and also more importantly, or as importantly, stories that you tell yourself, which are all about what life's all about. What does it mean? What is my position here? How am I doing? Am I winning? Am I losing? Will I win? Will I lose? How do they all think I'm looking? How do they like me? The people around, are they going to kill me or heal me? Are they going to look after me or chuck me out and make me die? That kind of basic stuff is but it becomes very, very complex and convoluted, of course. You walk around thinking those basic things. Well, it would be easier if everyone just did. But we create masses of stories in the forebrain, basically.
Right.
Like you get a bag bank statement, or you can't pay a bill. You go into a story of going completely destitute and ending up as a beggar on the street with a sign saying "used to be famous, please help." Right?
Yeah.
Which is just a story, but then you'll react to that and get into one of those things.
That's been me all this week. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's tax return time, so I'm doing my tax return. I'm sitting looking at what's coming up and what I've done, and my brain literally invents a story where what I've actually got in the bank now and all that is obliterated. If you invent a fictitious story where I'm going to be under a cardboard box in 2 weeks' time, which is nonsense, but I believe it, and I had literally had. The heart started racing, the adrenaline started pumping, as if this imaginary thing was really happening.
That's right, and
which it isn't.
Which it isn't. And next level to that is the dialogue that goes on about that. Oh, I really shouldn't be doing this. Really, I should be being positive. Well, look, let's do some affirmation. Let's get positive about this.
Yeah.
All of that, though, all of it. Oh, why have I got this complex about money? I mean, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I rich like that guy or this guy? I should be more this or should be. All of that goes on in the front of you. It's all front brain activity. And there is no way that you will ever stop that or resolve it in the front of your brain. The intellect cannot resolve the intellect. It's not possible. What the Taoists figured out was, instead of being in the front of you in this noisy, insecure, crazy, loony, fantasist place, come into the back of you, which is where you're really meant to be anyway. Like when you're driving a car, I don't know if you remember when you first learned to drive, you're kind of a little bit forwards driving.
Yeah.
After about, I remember it was a few months, I remember putting the seat back a bit and going right back in it. And it was a bit scary at first, but then I realised I could see the road much better. And my arms felt more comfortable, and I felt like a really the racing driver, and actually drove much better like that, and it was much more enjoyable. I had more command, in other words, over the vehicle. It's exactly the same. You learn it in the martial arts. You learn to deliver force from the back, because if I punch from the back, I've got my body weight behind it, like bang. But if I just do it with my arm, I'm not that strong, so it's not going to happen. With my body weight behind it, there's force there. Similarly, if somebody is going to come at me, if I'm in my back, I can field it and do what I need to do with it, because I am not the fear that I'm feeling in the front of me. There's fear, but I'm not that fear. In the back is very strong, quite protected and silent and still. So when you're in the back, you acquire those qualities. You become silent and still and strong, no longer affected by what's going on. That you feel the drama in the front, you feel the loony thoughts going on in the forebrain, but you are not them anymore. You are no longer in the drama. Even when it's really horrible and compelling, what's going to happen to you? You come back and say, look, there is that going on, but I am not that. Then that is the meditation state. You have transcended if you can be in the back. Then you can have your intention. Well, what do I want here then? Do I want to be in a cardboard box under a cardboard? What do I actually want? Well, I want everything to work out fine, and I want to feel joyful, and I want to be having fun with everybody, and everybody looking after each other, and it all working out fine. So that's my intention, and that you then hold that behind your heart. You breathe slowly, you sit, and bang, you're in it. And you carry that with you wherever you go throughout the day. So as I'm talking to you now, I'm in my back. I'm meditating. I'm seeing my voice going. I'm watching it all happening, but I'm not attached to the story that's going on. I'm just observing it. I'm laughing because the way you look at it. So.
It's like the witness position.
The witness position.
The big mind of Zen, the Brahman of the Vedantist.
People will then say, "How do you do that? How do you get in your back?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's your back. How do you know? You just get in it.
Go and see a chiropractor.
No, I'm being facetious. There are many techniques. You can use visualization. One really good one. And once you get it, you realise, oh man, I've always been known how to do this. You'll do it when you're drunk anyway. You'll do it when you're dancing, you really let go. You do it when you're making love and you're really letting go. You'll do it when you're really having a good time with people. You'll do it if you pray, if you sing, whatever. It will happen at times. But what the Taoists do is they go there first, and then everything sorts itself out. One way is, for example, breathe in a wall of white light through the pores of the skin at the front of your body and face. And let the white light collects in your back, Then breathe out the white light from the back through the front. And as you do that, it pushes you back. Like you're in a plane taking off, yeah.
I like that
you
one.
Like that? Okay. In fact, what you just did was really good. You could just do that. You could just push your arms out. And as your arms go out, you push back. And then feel yourself in the back. Mostly, it's about getting your mind to sit in the back brain, to lean up against the rear wall of the skull. The back brain is the hunter-gatherer brain. It's the real intelligence. It's where you are here now. Because the hunter-gatherer had to be alert. It wasn't thinking. The hunter-gatherer was not thinking about, I wonder what shoes I should wear next week for the wedding or whatever. It doesn't think that nonsense. The hunter-gatherer is like, there's an animal. Do I get it? Is it going to get me? Right. You're constantly present. And that's the real intelligence. That's the back brain. So the more we use the back brain, the more quickly we will evolve. And the more power we will have to see what's what and not get suckered in by the absurd complexity of disinformation that's occurring.
God, yes, this is all drawing back to that, because the stress that is being manufactured at the moment by the social medias and that. Like, anyway, but this is the cure.
Well, it's an antidote. I mean, but it doesn't mean you don't engage. You can still engage and get involved with it all, but just not be. But
engaging from a peaceful place rather than a stressful.
A place of power, actually, internal power. And then also the other thing we've got to remember is that all this political stuff is depending on people believing in division and divisiveness. It's us and them. I'm right, you're wrong. We believe this, you believe that. You're wrong, we're right. All that stuff. What the Taoist thing is that all of that is just surface disguise. It's just the play of life. None of it to be taken. It's just the yin and yang of it all. If you sit in your back with your heart open in the front, you feel yourself connected to all humanity. There's no more us and them. Even the people that you really disapprove of and think are really evil, they're still part of your family. And just with that itself has a healing quality. It makes you feel like you're actually in the game rather than kind of being a victim of it. You feel that you can influence it with your love, in fact.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thought. Right, well, thank you very much for that.
No, that's okay.
Thank you. That's been 40 minutes. So,
really,
unless anyone's got any questions,
I've got a question.
What's your question?
Do you think that the way that you know how reality's gone completely Alice in Wonderland?
Yes.
Has that possibly got anything to do with the millions of people who every single night all around the world take ketamine?
What?
Well, ketamine. If you people talk about falling down K-holes. In the old days, in the 80s, when it was a therapy drug, which is how I was introduced to it, you were meant to go down a so-called... you'd leave your body, that was the point of it. And in that, you would get such inspiration and insight that it was invaluable. But you really were... all personal levels of self fall away until all there is the one presence, the Tao.
Right.
And it's like a helicopter comes to lift you from the back of the head, like that, and then you're it. All there is God, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
At that point, I felt that I was responsible for keeping my thoughts tidy and positive, because it felt to me that I would affect the entire universe if I had negative thoughts from that position. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. Complete sense.
So if you were completely unschooled...
If we're now talking psychedelia, then from that perspective, yes. Yeah, we are. So let's talk about that then. Why not?
Yeah, good. But this is more meaty now.
Yeah.
If you were doing ketamine, which most people do, without any training whatsoever, which is usually the case, you're just doing it to get off, and you don't have any meditation training, no discipline whatsoever. The madness that goes through your mind and the negative thinking, the crazy thinking, will affect the collective. And there's no question about it. It will affect the collective. And I have a feeling that is contributing to the topsy-turviness of stuff on some level. I mean, no way of proving it. I was on the main stage at the Secret Garden, I can't remember, about 5 years ago, to do what was called a big Om. It was getting like 10,000 people Omming together. It was really, really nice. But it was a really weird thing. I know I hadn't clocked it. I got there, got on the stage, did the thing, and it was happening, and allowing for the space between where the stage is and the audience. There's always a bit of a funny delay, right?
Yes.
You don't feel that proper connection for a while. It feels a bit odd.
That can happen, yeah.
Yeah, but it felt really disconnected. I couldn't figure, and I actually stopped the music. I went, "Are you there?" There was just, seriously, are you there? Because I've got to say to you, I don't feel like you're there, and I don't get it. And if you are, just make a noise. I've done this amnesia in Ibiza once, so it's the same thing. Are you there or what? And they did it. I think, okay, I guess that's the noise. Carried on, got off stage, and these two girls came. Barefoot man, so sorry you missed your gig. So sorry you missed your gig. Casey fell down a cake. I went, oh, that's what it is. That, I reckon 30,000 people on ketamine.
30,000? So is it that prevalent?
Prevalent, yeah.
Prevalent, sorry. This is it, like... Buckles, why aren't you on TV? It's because I can't talk.
No, you talk great.
No,
I'm just a...
But is it that...
Pedant.
No, but is it that, pedant?
A pedant.
Is it that, because I must confess... a version of me in the multiverse might have, in a controlled and scientific environment, completely legally, have tried this substance. And, it weren't easy to come by.
No, it wasn't in the old days, no, but now it's really easy to get it anywhere. I mean, it's like, it goes with Coke. I mean, you do a line of ketamine, a line of Coke, it's normal. It's normal.
Very, must stress, family entertainment, I'm not, allegedly.
And I am not condoning or advising or suggesting it.
No.
To the contrary. Neither of those two drugs are things that I would want to use myself.
Whereas psilocybin. No. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's true. Done right. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's the case.
So I have been in that space, and where I felt that I was connected to everything, and that my thoughts could affect everything.
Yeah.
And then I've come back again, and gone right. Well, that was obviously just my brain playing tricks on me because I was.
Yeah, but
on a substance, in the same way that when you're drunk, you're not who you are. I'm not saying, this is when before I started reading, and I was actually, who am I? And why is this no any more real than that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Right.
They're both appearances.
Yeah.
On the, they're both movies playing on the screen, which is what I actually am. Is the screen, and we're all the screen. We're all different movies playing on the one screen.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can describe it. It's got deep quick. So, and then Carl Jung's collective unconscious, the idea that we are all linked at some level, that the morphogenic field, without getting into the silliness. Like but this is the secret where you just sit and think about a car and it appears on your drive. I find that a little bit, it's more like I personally find that
banal,
a little. Well, yeah, and it, don't work. And I tried. Do you know what I mean? But gave it too many chances. Whereas, but the idea that, oh God, I've gone down the rabbit hole myself now. But yes, I've been. To get back on I've been in that space where I felt like it was all one thing connected, and that somehow my thoughts were having an effect over there.
So that brings me to say, right, if that's the case, which I do,
and I get it on stage. I get it when it's going right, when it's going well. Comedy. I do comedy. In case you don't know, you've come here from another route, and
you tell a joke, then?
No, I've got no jokes. I don't tell jokes. I just blur.
You blur a bit.
I've been blurring for about half an hour, Doctor. But when it's working, when it's good, when they're in the right mood, there is a sense that you and the audience are one thing. Experiencing itself. It's I've bored this lot with it before, but my theory about the idea that you can't. Where is a show actually happening? You can't give me a bucket of show. You can't put it in a box. I want to get my show out now. So where is it happening? Is it me? Well, if it's not in me, because if there's no audience, there's no show. So it's in the audience. But if there's an audience and not me, there's no show. Well, is it in the building? Well, no. If another shot, there's no show. Yeah. It's all these elements that have to come together. The building, them, me, what I'm offering, their receptiveness to it. It's just, and then it's a happening. All these elements come together and it happens spontaneously. It's like you can't pinpoint actually where it's happening. Does that make sense? Like, is it happening in my mouth, or is it happening in my mouth? That's what's making the noise. Well, no, it's not. So is it happening in their ears? Well, no, it's not. It's the combination of the two. It's the yoga. It's the union. Who is the wizard that makes the grass green? For the grass to be green requires that the grass be there and a human nervous system be present to observe it. Because if a dog observes it, they're seeing a grey grass. And if a fly observes it, they're seeing a heat pattern. So the greenness of the glass exists in the union of a human nervous system and what's happening over there.
And chlorophyll.
And there's no separation. I am really waffling now.
And chlorophyll.
So...
and chlorophyll.
And when when a show's been going well and I've been in that state, I know that I am driving this bus and I can affect the vibe on this room with a glance or a look or a thing. And I also know that sometimes the things that you say will have resonance with these people after the fact.
Yeah.
Is that what... So yes.
So what I'm saying is...
But then I ask myself, why can't I live like that? Why is it only for 20 minutes on stage? Why can't I live like that when I leave?
You do. You do, don't you?
I try.
Well, you look like you do.
I try. I'm getting better at it now.
So what I'm seeing is, right, this will... Let's assume this is the case.
Yes.
And here we are. We have people here with you and I, powerful guys, powerful people, I'm assuming.
You're very powerful people.
Right. And we have a situation in the world. What do we want to see happen? I mean, look, I see it like a party. We've got a party night going on, and it's got gate crashed by a bunch of squares, and they've messed it up. And there's trouble. It could be a fight breaking out at any moment. And it's like our parties, we don't want that to happen. What do we do to change the vibe? What do we do to change the vibe? Firstly, we've got to somehow love the people who gate crashed and make them feel welcome.
Difficult, but possible.
It's possible, yeah, really. Without them without them taking over the thing. So that's an interesting one. And we've got to get the vibe in the room where everybody feels actually quite strong, positive, happy, and amazing. Yeah. Somehow. So I think that's what we want, isn't it? We want the party to be beautiful again.
Well, absolutely, yeah, like it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I haven't felt in the 90s, I know about.
But better even.
Yeah.
Better even than that. So what do? We together, we kind of sit back inside, we realise that we have agency, we can affect the collective, and we picture, however it looks to each of us, all of humanity dropping the aggression, dropping the hostility, the bigotry, the prejudice, or the fear, or the stupidity, dropping all that for a moment and just going, wow, it's beautiful to be alive. It's beautiful to be alive with everybody here. Yeah. And just picture that. You just picture 9 billion people dropping the shit and just going, it's good to be alive with everybody here. Imagine that right now. So if we picture that happening, that will send out like the seed of that energy to go around the world, and something good will happen as a result. Something good will come of this. Something good always comes of everything anyway. But,
it does. Well, yeah, ultimately, yeah. But the dark, from that is born this, and
that is this born that. How did that sound? Did that sound?
That sounded beautiful.
Good.
And dropping the defense, dropping the defences is a big thing. I'm really enjoying life more since I started doing that. Does anyone have any questions about anything we discussed tonight? I love this. People are tuning in for card tricks and they're getting ketamine. What? Love it. Any questions about anything we've talked about this evening? Consciousness, psychedelia,
card tricks,
illusion. The illusion of life. You do get a good sense of that when you kind of when you do particularly the close-up magic that I'm interested in now, because I do this, but it's in my shows as well actually. The idea of like there's what I'm doing and what you're perceiving, and the two things are completely different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And if you could see what I could see, you would be impressed, still be impressed, but impressed in a different way. If that makes sense, you wouldn't be, And
I always think of hotels. If you know a hotel, if you're the customer in a hotel, you think that hotel is all about you staying in a hotel, right? If you work in that hotel, you think that's all about you selling rooms to people who want to stay in the hotel, cleaning those rooms, getting them ready for the next person, getting the money for the rooms, and so on and so on and so on. It's a business, right? It's a very different angle. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't know really what I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing as you're saying.
Well, I'm starting to get this. I'm getting this weird idea now, especially on stage. This is happening, but also when I'm performing, because I perform for mates. I don't do close-up magic round tables. You know that thing where you go to a party and there's someone wandering about doing. I don't do nothing wrong with that. I just don't do it. I've never been that good at it. I can't approach people, but this thing that the trick, the thing that I'm doing, isn't actually it. What's it is the feeling I'm correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the more that I focus on the feeling rather than the trick, the better the trick is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Very much so, yeah.
I've still got to work on the trick, get it right, get the moves down, get the timing of it, the thing, but it's more what's behind it is what gives it its power. That without being too much of a mad hippie about it, but the vibe I'm giving, the way I'm doing it, the vibe I'm giving the person, the attention I'm giving them, the attention they're giving me.
Yeah.
And
same with music, playing music.
Same with music,
same with talking even.
And with comedy as well. When I try and do comedy in that state, the things I'm saying, like I looked at one of my shows, my last show that I did, I looked at it written down, and there ain't a joke in it. Like it just looks like a man talk, but when you actually perform it, it was a funny show, without bigging myself up, but it was a funny show. But the words written down were nothing.
Yeah.
It was the feeling, the vibe, what was behind it. That background presence we've been talking about. The thing, the Tao, the witch of which there is no witcher, the nothing from which everything arises, the 10,000 things, the one mind experiencing itself through these two apertures. And the multiple apertures watching this. Oh, this is getting. I'm going down.
No, you said that much better than I did. What did you ask me for if you know all that?
I don't know all that. No, because you're the Don in this world, and I'm a humble, wandering Jedi. So there we go. That's the story of that. Now we've done 45. We're going to get cut off in a minute because of the time limits on here.
All right.
So
what do you do now?
Well, very very quickly. If anyone's got any questions, this is your last chance. And while I'm waiting for them, I'll very quickly say I'm going to do some more of these. I do these all the time. Thank you to my guest, the Barefoot Doctor.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And you can follow him on here.
Yes, follow me.
Barefoot Doctor.
Just follow. In fact, don't follow me. Follow your own path.
Yeah, don't follow anyone. Don't be a follower. Never be
follow
seen.
Follow your Tao. Follow your way.
Never be seen at the back of a protest.
but come and get me at Barefoot Doctor World if you want.
Yes.
Good. BarefootDoctorWorld.com. It's a good place to find me.
Junk Briggs asks, Tory or Labour? It's going to split the room. I say tactical voting. I say I cannot. I don't agree with anybody, but I reckon tactical voting. I would like to see a hung parliament. I would like to see a balance, a weird thing, and hopefully the two extremes will be counteracted and it'll kind of, or failing that, a centrist party emerging, please God. But I'm hoping for a hung parliament personally, but vote as you wish. Barefoot Doctor, have you anything?
Yeah, I'd like to see them do formation swimming like Busby Berkeley style in Parliament, all in the water with rubber hats on. That's what I want to see.
I can't quite see that happening after the vote, but it's a possibility.
You never know, man. You never know.
The thing, if you buy into the multiverse theory, somewhere out there in the cosmos, that is happening. So who's your vote? I'm going to be voting Liberal Democrat.
Good on you.
Because they've got Labour haven't got a prayer around here where I live. There's no way. But the Liberal Democrats run a really tight race last time. There's a good chance they'll take the seat. And so if I vote for Labour, my vote will be wasted. If I vote Lib Democrat, I'm going to get closest to what I personally would like to see. But ultimately, nobody's speaking for me right now. But that's it. I want to get as close as I can to what I want, and that's my best bet in this area. There's the story of that.
I don't discuss politics anyway.
I try not to. This is normally about card tricks and laughing. But yeah, that's where I'm coming from. Yeah, if I vote for Labour around here, I'm not going to get a Labour. It's not going to happen. It just can't happen in this area. You've got to look at what the facts you're presented with, not what you would, and the facts are, those are the facts around here. So, right, I've got to go. We've got to go because it's going to run out of time. So, thank you for tuning in. I hope that was enjoyable. My thanks to the Barefoot Doctor for joining us by his books. And I'll see you again. Tune in later on. I'll do another one in a couple of days about other stuff. So we'll do that. Take care, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All the best to you. Good night.